Seoul, South Korea is a city that is tailor-made for solo travelers. It is one of the safest cities in the world, has plenty of stunning places to see, friendly locals and delicious food. Speaking of food, one of the fears that I truly wanted to conquer whilst I was traveling alone is the ability to dine alone. As a normal extrovert, this is truly one of my greatest fears. That aside though, I truly think that Korean food still doesn't get the hype it deserves despite the popularity of K-pop and K-drama. I mean, have you ever heard of Samgyeptang or had a freshly steamed mandu before? There is more to Korean food than K-barbecue, and so in today's Seoul vlog, I want to take you on a day where I check out some of the best places to dine alone in Seoul, South Korea. I'm going to be checking out two of the most famous cafes in South Korea, eating a must-try Korean dish, and also taking you along to one of the most unique degustation experiences I've ever been to. And man, you are not ready for the foods that I'm about to show you. Subscribe for more travel guides just like this, and come on, let's get straight into it. The cafe scene in Seoul is truly on another level. A simple search on any social platforms will tell you that. And that's why cafe hopping is truly a quintessential activity to do when you're in Seoul. So let's start the day right by going to perhaps what is the most famous cafe in Seoul. Cafe Onion in Anguk will undoubtedly appear on every list you will find for must-visit cafes in Seoul. It is conveniently located near Gyeongbokgung Palace and is seconds away from Anguk Station. This cafe is located inside a repurposed hanok, aka a Korean traditional house, and is a perfect example of how Korea has cleverly combined modern designs whilst preserving the traditional architecture of a hanok. Much like any of the popular cafes in Seoul, you really want to make sure you get here early and preferably on a weekday to avoid queues. Here are the opening hours for your reference. The main section of the cafe is where you go to order your pastries. Walk in and you shall be greeted with a long table crammed full of baked goods, and man, would you just look at that. I already knew that their pandoro and the strawberry pastry are the must-order items, so they were the first things I added to my tray. But I also noticed that their garlic cheese baguette and the chili sausage roll was selling out fairly quickly, and so I got them as well. The queue to pay moved fairly quickly, and once it's done, you head out to the eating area that looks like a Zen garden. I started with their pandoro and strawberry pastry. Let's give their best-selling pastry a little go.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
And almost immediately found out the hard way that the top part of the pandoro is actually a whole stack of sugar. Little snack incident aside though, the pastries were overall pretty good, with my favorites being the garlic cheese baguette, strawberry pastry, and the chili sausage roll. Honestly, the whole cafe was such a vibe, and I definitely reckon it is worth a visit, especially if you're in Seoul for the first time. Speaking of going to Seoul, I went to Seoul right in the middle of winter, and so this next spot was high up on my list of places to visit, especially when the temperatures were dipping below zero. Today, I'm going to show you one of my absolute favorite Korean staples of all time, Korean ginseng soup. If you've never had it before, well, strap on in, because I'm going to take you to one of the best Korean ginseng shops in Seoul. There is almost always a queue for this spot, but I think I got lucky as I didn't have to wait too long before I was seated. Tosokchon Samgyetang does one dish and one dish well, and that is Samgyeptang, aka Korean ginseng chicken soup. This traditional Korean dish comprises of a whole young chicken stuffed with glutinous rice, jujubes, and an array of medicinal herbs, including ginseng, a highly regarded ingredient with many medicinal benefits in Korea. The chicken is then cooked for many hours. The result is tender, juicy pieces of chicken, soft rice, and a broth that is absolutely heavenly. You get to choose between black or white chicken. I went with the white chicken, and it is honestly one of the best things I've ever had in my life. The fall of the bone chicken meat, rice, and broth is pretty darn addictive as well. I actually went back to this place 3 times during my time in Seoul. I was understandably quite full by this stage, and so I spent a few hours wandering around the COEX Mall in Gangnam. It was Christmas when I went, so the ever-popular COEX library was beautifully decked out with Christmas lights and a huge Christmas tree. Once I had hit about 20,000 steps though, I decided that it was time to hit up another famous cafe in Seoul. As I was already in Gangnam, I decided to check out Nudake, which is popular with locals and tourists alike. For those who don't know, Nudake is the brainchild of the same people behind popular eyewear brand Gentle Monster, and you can definitely see the same quirkiness reflected in the decor, from the huge croissants filling the entrance to the floor-to-wall figurines on the second level. The pastries are laid out on a long flat table like pieces of art, as they should be, because let me tell you, each piece of pastry were works of art. A good example of this is their famous peak cake. I mean, just look at it. One of the disadvantages of traveling alone though is that sometimes you can't eat it all. As much as I wanted to get this peak cake, I am still quite full from all my eating adventures today, and even the smaller size peak cake was still good for 2. And so I had to settle for their second bestseller, which are these oniwasons, a clever play on the words croissant and onigiri. It is a croissant shaped like an onigiri, which I think is so creative. I got the kimchi one, and so this one was stuffed with a creamy kimchi filling. And it isn't all just for looks either. I actually did quite enjoy the pastry. I also wanted something sweet to finish off with though, and so I also got this mango croissant. It basically tasted like a delicious mango pancake laid on a piece of pastry and was so good. I purposely didn't want to eat too much at Nudake though, as I had pre-booked this next venue for dinner months before my travel to Seoul. It was my one big splurge food-wise for this trip. I mean, I couldn't resist and was instantly sold when I saw the venue's Instagram. I mean, just look at this. It is also located in Gangnam and within walking distance from where I was staying, which made it even easier to come to a decision to book the place. It is located in this tall building in Gangnam, and you wouldn't be able to tell that the restaurant is there because there's no obvious signs until you walk in, as you will be greeted by the restaurant staff who will then confirm your reservation and lead you to a lift, which will then take you to basement level 2, I believe, where the restaurant is located. The restaurant's dining area is designed to look like a sea deck overlooking the horizon, which will take you through 5 distinct chapters of the day: daybreak, sunrise, wave storms, wake up, and the absolutely stunning Milky Way. Each chapter comes with 2 courses and a theatrical introduction that perfectly encapsulates the degustation experience. The 10-course degustation menu uses a few varieties of crab, which is the star of this gastronomic adventure, as it is featured in quite a few of these dishes. Each dish tells a story as well, carefully crafted to take you on a culinary journey and made to not only taste good but look absolutely stunning. Let me just show you some of the highlights. The menu started with this cute little picnic basket and a rather unique popcorn. And I also absolutely love the KFC, which isn't chicken, it is Korean fried crab. I also love this glow in the dark bonbons that we had for dessert, as well as their rose chocolate dessert that was served inside a storybook. It was all about the attention to details here as well. Everything right down to the plating and service was spot on. Honestly, this is easily one of the best degustation experiences experiences I've been to and one that I would remember for a long time. If you've been following me on Instagram and TikTok, you'd know that I've been to quite a few. So was it hard dining alone? You know, it actually wasn't. I started to enjoy my own company a lot more and also made more of an effort to converse with the waiter or waitresses or even just with other strangers at the venue. Another thing that I feared doing, by the way. But most importantly, I realized that I mostly fear eating out alone because I fear bumping into someone that I might know and be embarrassed, something that is honestly much less likely to happen when I'm traveling, which then made me realize that I really need to start letting go of what other people think of me and what other people's opinions are of me, and honestly just live. Anyway, I ended off my day after Kanilaeb by checking out a secret bar in Gangnam called Le Chamber. I've linked the short talking about that secret bar at the end of this video. If watching this vlog has also inspired you to plan a solo travel to South Korea, I've also previously done a 14 things that you need to know before going to Seoul, South Korea as a solo traveler, and I will also link it here somewhere so that you can go ahead and check that out next. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more fat travel content. And if you got to this point of the video, I want to thank you so much for watching. I do hope that you have a great day ahead, and as always, I will see you very soon in the next video.